You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Laec.
And together we are Raw Break. And how's every single one of you, family? And like on Saturdays, we always try to do different stuff, and we've been following Impact. Unlike a lot of you, unlike a lot of people, we've been just following Impact. And this one we had an Impact Plus special, Sacrifice, a pretty good show, and they made the stocks more higher when they make this match like the title match, a unification match. So that was really good. And, like a lot of implications with New Japan also, Kenny Omega involved in this situation. So good stuff. Overall, a pretty enjoyable show. But like we always mention, maybe a bit too long.
Oh, yeah. You hit the nail on the head that, Impact, they give us a great show tonight, but there was some things for this just a little too long. Some of the matches probably don't deserve to be on a pay-per-view or, network special, whatever you want to call it. But overall, I think a great show, great implications, going into, I believe, what is it, Rebellion?
Rebellion.
Yep, against Kenny Omega. That obviously has a lot of hype, fanfare behind it. The Forbidden Door has been opened, so a lot more, just, I guess, buzz, a lot more excitement coming from Impact Wrestling. And this, network special, Impact Plus, pay-per-view thing was really good, I thought.
Oh, yeah, it was really good. So, thank you very much for being with us, family. Thank you for subscribing to us. Thank you for comments. Thank you for every single thing that you do. Don't forget to support us. Also, like we cover, of course, WWE, every single thing that happens there. Smackdown, no more respect between Bryan and Edge. So you see dissension. Like they're not friends anymore, and they're actually focusing on what? The main prize, that is the Universal Championship. And the road to WrestleMania, like, it's kind of having some swerves. It might be a triple threat. Nobody really knows. Supposedly the card has been ended. But other than that, an awful show, right, Paul?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just smack, like, what do we say? Is Edge, Roman, Daniel Bryan, they're the ones who made this show feel legit. And then everything else we got, last night, just awful. The women's division done. And okay, Cesaro, Seth Rollins, that might be something, okay, but then you get everything going on in the tag team division, and that's awful, and just it's not a very good show.
No, not at all. Not at all. Like you said, it's not a really good show, so but the review is always better, so always check that.
Yes.
So let's start, Paul, with like the first match. This, like you said, maybe not really pay-per-view special or anything worthy, but as the DK, like Bolt Tarus, we have Crazy Steve and Rosemary against Reno Scum. Well, what do you think of this? For me, this is just to hype you up a little bit, but it didn't do anything for me. I mean, DK is really getting a lot of momentum, but, they need to actually fight for gold now because they have a few shows that they've been fighting and winning matches. So now they need to start focusing on accomplishing something.
Oh, yeah, and I think, with the title change that we got later on in the night, that would be a great team to see, Finn Juice go against Decay, Crazy Steve, Black Toro. So I think that would be really good, and that's exactly what this was. This was just kind of, okay, get you excited, get this team that's on the rise in Decay, even though, they've been stable and Impact for a while, but it's like Black Toros is new to them. So like, let's get this, group really, let's push them. Let's get them on the show. Let's showcase them a little bit. But did anybody expect Reno Scum to win? Does anybody expect Reno Scum to win ever? This looked really good for them. I feel like Crazy Steve is just really underrated because he's put with like a goofy gimmick. So people go, oh, okay, whatever. But he's actually a really legit wrestler. But then, Black Toros, he's the one who they're really trying to make the star here. This group really dominant, his lucha libre style and everything. So this was a good match to open the show, if you're going to put it on the show. But this could have been one, save it for Tuesday nights.
Oh, yeah, like you said, like Bob Tarus is like, he was added to the group. It was supposed to be Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara turned that down. Didn't like the idea. So they move on to like Black Tarus. He's actually making a little bit of impact, and it's not pun intended. But I like that. And also, like, this group has also the advantage of having Rosemary, because after like a decent match, hard fought from both teams, there's the difference maker is right there with Rosemary, because also like she got something from like the Fiend Bray Wyatt, because he also likes to give the Black Goose, and now like this Green Goose or the Green Mist, and that pretty much took out the one guy from Reno Scum, like all done. Then Black Tarus grab him, did it like That's like a suplex into like a Falcon Arrow, pretty much, right? Is that what?
Oh yeah, they just called it like the Taurus driver.
The Taurus driver, yes. Like every time it's like no, it's the Jean Paul driver, the Juanzo driver. Okay, that's fine. But like they get the win, and like you said, DK needs to actually get goal or like at least start fighting for the goal because they're a good team. I like the trio. I like what they represent. I mean, Taurus doesn't need to talk, and that's fine. But like DK is like been getting, like I said, a lot of wins. So that was a good start for the show. Though, like I really feel that like at least then you get sit down, you get your popcorn, you get your beer, whatever, and then you can start like getting like watching the show. So it was okay. So now let's go to the next match, and this next match was actually like this is the one that I agree with you, they should not be in the pay-per-view either. And this is like Tenille Dashwood and Caleb with a K against Havoc and Nevaeh. So, and this is because even the winner was actually awful. So this doesn't get me excited. And I know Tenille is popular. There's name value in Tenille. But other than that, I mean, I don't think that you should just job Havoc and Nevaeh,
Oh yeah, I mean, Tenille she was a little bit more intense, a little bit more just like, I mean, of course, there had to be the posing, oh, Caleb, take a picture and stuff, but there was a little bit more intensity, a little bit more wrestling, but this was just really to cause the dissension between Havoc and Nevaeh still, to keep selling that storyline, because they're like, oh, they put their differences behind them, they're back together, everything's legit, and then, to have, it was Nevaeh who got pinned, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, to just have Nevaeh get pinned, and then Havoc kind of looks at her and is like, really? And then Nevaeh's like, so, and it's just like, they're causing this dissension, and I don't like it because this is the team who I really wanted to win the knockout championships. When they brought them back, I wanted them to win at the tag team championships. They didn't. And it's like, okay, maybe they'll get a title shot, a little bit later on, maybe, because it seems like they're pushing Jazz and Jordan Grace right now as number one contenders. And then, they're trying to split this team up. And it's like, I don't like that. I didn't like this match. I mean, like I said, the only good thing was Tenille looked a little bit more intense, a little bit more like a wrestler. But other than that, I could care less for this, to be honest.
Yeah, like this was not good, like you said. And like, especially because like she has, quote unquote advantage because Caleb is a guy. But again, quote unquote advantage. But like you said, like, I don't like that Havoc and Nevaeh, like, you could invest more time in them, maybe do a multi-tag women's for the Knockouts Championship. And now they're actually causing dissension between the two. Like you said, Lucy, right, the picture. She's really upset, so they're probably going to split them up. And I don't know where they're going to go in their singles run because, neither one of them, maybe Havoc changed Diana Perazzo, maybe, but we'll see what happens. But like you said, Tenille just gets the win. Also, like, what do you do with Tenille? Like we will see later what happened, but I feel that like she needs to go also for like a championship opportunity because again, if you don't go for that, then why are you even in any wrestling company? At least that's for me what I feel about it. Yeah, so now let's go, go ahead, Paul.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Yes, exactly. So like let's go. Paul is hyping me up for my match, against the Moose. So it's like, oh, you're gonna be unified champion. It's gonna be fine. You're going to represent us all. You're going to go against and beat Kenny Omega on Rebellion. So you're going to become even like a triple champ. So you're going to hold all the belts in the world. So like you see, Rick Swann is really ready for this match. He's, the most important match in his life. So you see the intensity and you see how like focused he is. He's not like, throwing pancakes or any of that. So that's really good. So like, let's go to the next match, Paul. And this was actually a match that like you probably liked because I know Violent by Design is like a really good group. I really liked it.
Oh, yeah, this match, I mean, this was good. The storyline, I mean, I guess, I like more the ending, just how Violent by Design was set up, the stable's really growing. And the match, the quality was good, but to just kind of be like, oh, Eric Young, we have a lot of history with Impact, why are you being bullshit? And like, I wish you had a little bit better of a story for James Storm and Chris Sabin, but I mean, I guess, this is what they have for them right now, so it is what it is. But the match was really good. I love Joe Doring, and just it was good. It was exciting. Chris Sabin can go, but like I said, to me the main thing was just like the ending. You had Rhino come back after a hard fought match, and they thought, oh, Rhino, he's here to avenge Heath Slater. He's going to help his boys out, but then he actually gores Chris Sabin, and then it's like, oh my God, what's going on? And then you find out he's joining Violent by Design, which, maybe he's just joining them and he's going to be like a Trojan horse and he's going to turn on them when Heath comes back. Or maybe we're going to see Heath then join either the baby faces with James Storm, Chris Sabin and was it Jake something? I believe
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
it's Jake something. It is
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
The
So
name is
maybe
Jake
he'll
something.
join them, and then we'll see 4 versus 4. Who knows? But I mean, this is pretty good. I just wish, Eric Young and Violent by Design, they're another one. Have them challenge for the tag team championships. You got to
Oh
do
yeah,
something with
yeah.
them in this group. But I mean, this was still, even though, like I said, I'm not too invested in the story, but this was still just a really good match, I thought, because Joe Doring is good. He's another one too. I want to see him. I wanted to see him go against Moose, but with kind of what we saw in the main event and where that title picture is going, I don't see that match happening for a while.
Oh yeah, no. The one thing is like again, like one at least thought that I have throughout this whole special or pay-per-view is like, for example, this group could easily go going against like the main title. You have the whole story written right there, but like because the title picture is like full with other players, it's like it's impossible for these guys to go there when they actually could go there because the story calls for it. Like remembering like the pre-match, we saw like the video package how like when I think it's not Joe Doring, but the other guy was like, oh, like you lost the match, and then they went and beat him up, Doring, and also like Eric Young is like, I'm doing this for you. So like all of this for me, like you could easily run the show based on the story with Violent by Design.
Oh
But
yeah, because
unfortunately,
he almost like breaks these guys to follow him.
yeah,
Like he just mentally breaks them, and then they go, okay, even though Eric Young isn't good for them at all. It's like some kind of weird, like twisting reverse psychology kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, no. So I like that, like you said, and like in Rhino, I mean, adding to this, you have two powerhouses, side by side with Joe Doring and now Rhino. I mean, the other one is just like I don't know, the guy that's gonna get the pin ever most of the time. Like he's just gonna do that.
And
But
and
I
this
mean,
and this group would be great to have them do something, on AEW as well with a babyface group there. But I really don't know if they're going to do that. If they're going to do too many crossovers, I feel like the only crossovers they like is the Good Brothers and then Kenny Omega. Those would be like the only two, and everybody else can just stay on their own show.
Depends. We'll see, but it's a great idea. And the one thing is like they probably use Rhino well because he is gonna be out for a long time. He just got like the surgery from like the hernia, the injury that he had. So like he's gonna be out for like a long time. So like he's like, hey, what do we do with him? We should put him with something. That's what we should do. And it was good. So we like that. So and then we go to like our boy Brian Myers. He was just talking about how like he has this rivalry with like Eddie Edwards, also Matt Cardona. Oh, like they making me fight with these guys. I came here for more gold and all of that. But like I mean, the match that they had, it was unsanctioned, and I did like it. They looked really good, and Brian Myers, like every single time like he has a match, he delivers for me. Eddie Edwards, the only thing I don't like is like the gear because he looks like really like he was a former world champion. I would much rather see like a wrestler looking him rather than the hard to kill like outfit. But that's what we got. But what do you think?
Oh yeah, this was really good, and I just I like how like they're just this one has like a good story, not like super good. Oh my god, it's fantastic, but has a good story to follow and everything. And Brian Myers, I feel he's just since coming to Impact, we're actually seeing who he is. Not just the guy who loses all the time. He can play a heel, he can be good, he can be cocky, he can be like a shitty, not like Miz shitty heel, but he can still be like a shitty heel. But he's also a legit wrestler. This is good. And I like how it started off wrestling. They start out legit, then they go to the outside. Then they start using the toys, as in like the chairs, the steel steps,
That was a beautiful
and everything.
superplex also.
Oh, yeah, the suplex by Eddie Edwards onto the chairs, was a pretty good spot in this match. And I was just wondering, I'm like, is this thing going to be clean? Are we going to see Hernandez? Are we going to see Matt Cardona?
Oh, yeah.
How's this going to go?
Yes, exactly, and we did see both of them. So but there was also this spot right here, like on the chair, on the one of the tables. That was really cool too. It was like a stunner, kind of like a variation of that. That was also really good and really well executed from both guys. And like you said, we're going to see Cardona, we're going to see Hernandez. We saw both of the guys. Like they caused a lot of like tension, but they got taken out, later. And imagine they didn't play a factor though, because in the end it was both of them. It was just Edwards and Brian Myers that like finished the match. So like they didn't play a single factor because Cardona took out Hernandez, and that was okay. But what did you think of like the outcome? Like there was like that piece of metal, I think, that like Brian Myers had, and then like he took it out, but then it fell, and then Eddie Edwards
because he had like the elbow pad loaded up for the roster cut, And then, because that's where like Matt Cardona, like, a couple of weeks ago on Impact was like, no, you're bullshit. Can't do this. Then here, Eddie Edwards gets it. And then it was just kind of, I don't want to say it was awkward, but it was just fell out on the mat. And of course the ref can't say anything. So that I didn't expect anything from that. But like Myers just like looks at him and he's like, so, and then he just picks it up, puts it in his knee pad, boom, he hits the Boston knee
crab,
and then just 1, 2, 3, and then done.
Extra leverage on that, extra leverage, 1, 2, 3, and then Eddie Edwards wins. So that was, I
feel like this is probably the end of the feud. You have the stipulation match, you have, all the guys come out, it gets crazy. This is a big win for Eddie Edwards, so it's probably the end of the feud. So I probably would have had Brian Myers go over. That's the only thing. But I guess old school, you always like to see the babyface win at the end of the feud. But I don't know. I would have put Myers over.
Rather Myers, because also, like you said, there is what the main rivalry is between all these guys. It's Cardona against Myers.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
like in order for you to go hard, you need to go with win against Eddie Edwards. But I don't know. But like for me, that's why it will still keep going. Because
it might keep going. It might, and because of Brian, Brian Myers' character, he could always bitch and be like, "Oh, he cheated, he used the thing," and they'll be like, "Brian, it was no holds or not no holds."
No, it was the unsanctioned. No, it was like no disqualification. So that's why,
it's Scott D'Amore could be like, "Brian, don't be bullshit," and he's like, "Why I'm going to be bullshit?" Blah blah blah, and the feud could continue. So
yes, exactly. So that's what I feel that they're going to do. But good, despite that really great match, one of the best matches that we heard today. It was one of them. So again, Rebellion is going to be for me Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, because they're going to be a big pay-per-view. A Hard to Kill did really good numbers. So they want to duplicate that. And what about having the best friends? The toy show and all of that. So
different best friends.
Yeah, there you go. But that's what we got. So let's go to the tag team titles for the knockouts, and that's Fire and Flavor going against Jordynne Grace and Jazz. So this was okay. I liked the match. But the outcome I did not like, I mean, and the Kira Hogan, Tasha Steelz, they look really, really good. Jazz, for what she can do, she does great, comparison to what we say about Dustin Rhodes, the same thing. So and Jordynne Grace kind of being the glue for every single one in the girls. But despite that, the winner I didn't like.
I would have put the titles on Jordynne Grace and Jazz. I know it's like a makeshift team, but I mean, hey, let's add to Jazz's legacy. I feel, she's done so much and probably like an unsung hero. I would say a little bit, especially, she don't get really any of the credit she deserves for being, what she did in WWE and everything. So, let's get Jazz a little bit more credit here. But for Jordynne Grace, I agree. She was the star of this match, and especially selling for Fire and Flavor in the match, because she was the one who sold for them a lot. Because they even said, their commentary, which I don't know how you thought. I thought Matt Stryker during some of this towards the main event, he got a little bit more fired up, but tonight he seemed kind of a little bit
and again, it was daylight saving, so that's why all of us.
Maybe everybody's already tired, but
we're already done. Yes.
Yeah. But this, like I said, Jordynne Grace, really putting over the tag team champs in this. Obviously, Jazz was as well, selling for them. In the end, they try to make the big comeback, just the strength of Jordynne Grace, obviously throwing these women around, looking good. But I was surprised that the champs retained. I didn't think that was going to happen, to be honest.
I didn't like that, because Tasha Steelz did a lot of the dirty work, because she dove 2 times and causing without being the legal woman. She kept going at it and, doing this kind of things, taking out Jordynne Grace, because out of the two, like you said, Jordynne Grace is the muscle. And then we got to see Kira Hogan executing that, swinging net breaker. But that was because Tasha Steelz had taken out Jazz, from the back. And then she was able to hit that in 1, 2, 3. They get the win. They retain. I don't like it because, again, it makes Jordynne Grace a little weak. Jazz, whatever. I don't consider her, she's part of the team, but, she's not the main person in the team.
So she's the older veteran. Obviously, she's not the young popular star. So she's the one who you would get pinned if they were going to get pinned. So maybe this is another thing. This is going to continue. I don't really know, but I would have did the title switch here. But I mean, we'll see.
for me, I would have done it. And the one thing is also it was clean. Remember that like I was waiting to see like Kimberly. I was waiting to see Susan. I was waiting for the two of them to come out and kind of like messed up the match, and then Fire and Flavor will still retain. But the fact that it was clean, it was like that. I don't know if Jazz is like the tour, like retirement tour is over. I don't know if they're gonna keep going with her, or maybe Jordan Grace. I saw a report that like her contract expires in May. So I don't know what will happen. I don't know if she's going to get renewed. I don't know. But like the fact that they retain, I don't know what they were going to do later on with Jordan Grace, though. Because again, for the Parasso, you're not going to do that. So interesting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, just because, like we said, Havoc and Nevaeh seem like they're splitting up. It's like, how many women's tag teams do you really have? Considering you just brought these belts back, and now, at least when you do a title change, it kind of makes things fresh a little bit. But now it's like, who do you have left?
Exactly. That's what I agree. So like, let's go with like our, the champion of the world. We wanted him to win. He was ready to go be the champ. No, he says like, can you give us some thoughts? Nah. I like that line though. I've done enough talking. Like whatever you're gonna see. You're gonna see
Moose is so legit.
Moose
is the most legit, probably one of the most legit people in wrestling. Just the way he carries himself from everything. Body language, the way he dresses, the way, he wrestles in the ring, his attitude, everything,
he understands the whole concept of being a professional wrestler, and he lives by it. So absolutely amazing. So let's go with like one of the good matches that we have in this pay-per-view, and that's TJP defending the X Division title against Ace Austin. Again, both guys are really, really talented. And the one characteristic that Paul, is like the X Division is always like filled with like guys that like can go and they can give you really nice spots, but at the same time they give you good wrestling. So that's what we got. But like I wasn't expecting a title switch again because Ace Austin was an X Division champion, but I was wrong this time, Paul. But what do you think of the outcome? I regains the title.
To be honest, I was feeling a title switch. I didn't know that they were actually going to do this match tonight. Like I, missed the past couple weeks of Impact. So, but I mean, you still follow the pay-per-view. They still have the video package, everything filling you in. So that's great. But I didn't think that they would be doing this match so soon. But I knew as soon as they did it, Ace Austin was going to win the championship. He won that X Division Cup, and he's been toting that around for a while. That kind of was to me just like a contract. Like, hey, I'm going to get my match. And obviously he's the star. TJP is a great wrestler. He might even be better than Ace Austin. Actually, I would just come out and say he is, but he doesn't have that kind of character, that charisma that Ace Austin does. Yes. And Ace Austin, he's Madman Fulton. So he kind of has the whole heel, just character down pat. It's so good. He has the bodyguard with him and everything. And, this to me, it was a fantastic match. Like I said, TJP's one of the best that they have on this roster. Ace Austin isn't a slouch either. He doesn't just have a great character. He's a good wrestler for how young he is and everything. But as soon as, this match was booked, you're not going to have Ace Austin lose because he won that cup and everything. So you just got to, pull the trigger on him, give him the belt. And I'm fine with it because TJP, like, you think of his title reign. What was legit? What happened? Oh, he had the whole feud with
Rajid Rahul.
Yeah, exactly.
Rahul,
so it's
he
like
was manic, not really TJP. So he won it in kind of like a, I don't want to say bullshit way, but like in kind of like a different way. And,
but like with all that though, consider like you said, he was manic, then he was TJP and Rohit Raju for most of it. Like, did it feel legit? I mean, yeah, the matches were pretty good, but like I said, TJP is a great wrestler, but maybe like story-wise, character, gimmick, all that stuff, the belt kind of didn't really feel that legit. So putting it on Ace Austin, I think is the right thing to do, and it creates a whole bunch of new matchups. Maybe see Ace Austin, we saw kind of Cardona go against Madman Fulton. Maybe when Cardona's done with Myers, he go against Ace Austin for X Division title. Maybe not win it, but he can go against him. We can see matchups like that. So I think the belt is better on Ace Austin, and it only elevates his stock as well.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you. But like just so like the last sequences from the match, family, you guys know that's like the TJP log. Like that's the most popular like finishing move that he has. Next to like the like the Mamba splash, and like also like he did like then Ace Austin did like the fall. I think that's the finisher. That's the
fold. The fold.
There you go, the fall, and then he is like pretty much like a running swing like neck breaker kind of like I like that. It was like really good. Then he pinned him 1-2-3. He gets the win again, and like we'll see what happens with Ace Austin because even he challenged for the Impact Championship like last year in this event, exact event with Sacrifice when Tessa Blanchard was the champion. But now he gains gold, so like that's fine. Like let's go to the next one, Paul. This was just like we got to see Daddy. We got to see Johnny Swinger, so that was cool. Tennille and Caleb were like in this thing that he has, like the Daddy has like this. Johnny Swinger has like this club or casino like right there. So like this was bad. That this sometimes Impact can be really really good, but then these things like take away the legitimacy for me. But that's what we always get. So now let's go to like the Knockouts Championship match, and that's Diana Purrazzo against ODB. This was also really quick, and I think that like ODB looked a little bad for my taste. Diana from the moment that the bell started, like she dominated. It was one-sided for me. And I didn't see ODB getting any momentum, so I don't know what were they going to do, especially because outside of anybody else in the roster, who is a babyface that can go against Diana Purrazzo? That's my only question that I have. But like like in the match, like Kimberly and like Susan, they both got taken away. They were actually kind of like bothering like ODB, and then armbar, and pretty much after that it was like again one-sided. ODB did not have a comeback. I didn't like how this match was. It was really quick. Maybe she got injured. A lot of people were saying she might be injured, and then you go like Venus de Milo right there, and pretty much ODB tap out right away. So what did you feel about this, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, and I was fine with, obviously Diana winning. I don't think a title switch, should have happened. But, ODB, yeah, she's a veteran. She's older. We get that, but it's wrestling. And she's probably, almost twice the size of Diana. So let her get some offense. Let's see the heel sell a little bit. The heel bump for her. Okay, shit. Now the heel has to make a comeback. And maybe that's when you could have had the other two women kind of maybe interfere a little bit, and that's when the ref says, "Oh, get out of here! Don't be bullshit." Mm-hmm. But it's already too little, too late. Diana has the advantage back, and then wins. But I agree, ODB, just for being like, it's almost funny to say she's a legend in the Knockouts division. But for when Impact first started, she was really popular. The people loved her, so you could have did a little bit something with her. But I mean, the match itself, if we're being honest here, it was just a throwaway match anyway. So it's like, but really, who are they gonna push in the future? So I mean, like, yeah, I mean, are we gonna see Jordynne Grace again? That's a really only name I can think of. Maybe the tag team, like you said, with Jazz is done. Maybe eventually it's Jordynne Grace. Who knows? But I hope not. But I feel like they're really not building anyone up in the women's division. They're just kind of using the same. They're using the same main eventers, and they took Rosemary out because she's not wrestling anymore. Ty is gone. So you're just losing people.
That's what I mean. So like in that is like you need to have like, or you need to build like somebody as a big baby face so that she can go against Diana.
Yeah, because they had a Kylie Ray done.
Now Kylie Ray absolutely done. Yeah, so like that's why like that's what I'm wondering. Who's gonna be the next challenger for like Diana Purrazzo, because Diana is on fire. She's carrying that division.
And that's honestly probably why they do these matches. Like, oh, ODB, do you want to come back, make a paycheck? We got that Tony Khan money. She's like,
oh okay. Yeah, I love the one. I love why she does that. But I mean, like you said, it's just like giving 1 second to just like like, hey, get the match. At least we have like somebody that's gonna challenge Diana. That's fine, But like, she's not gonna lose it.
It'll be like Gail Kim will come back. They'll bring like Awesome Kong. They'll bring them all back.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. They I don't know what it will happen, but they need to start like maybe building somebody up. So like, let's go to the next match. And this match was like actually probably the best match of the night. And that was like the tag team titles on the line, like Finn Juice from New Japan Pro Wrestling, of course, Finn Finley, and also Juice Robinson going against the Good Brothers.
Well, David Finley. If that was Fit Finley, Fit Finley he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, but it's his son, so that's fine. I know it's all good. But like the Good Brothers, Anderson and also Gallows. So like you said, this was unexpected for me. I thought that like Impact was gonna like go over this just because they're in their own backyard. So it should be like that. But I feel that like they did this to kind of bring eyes to the product. Anybody's like maybe paying attention to just the title picture, like Kenny Omega, Moose, and Rick Swann. But it's like, no, we have other stuff in the other like divisions. So we have like a title switch here. But other than that, they put a good show though. It was a really great match.
Yeah, this match was definitely the best match of the night, I thought. And it was mostly because of Finn Juice. Fit Finley, and then I got me saying it. David Finley, the son of Fit Finley, is he's obviously he learned from his dad good, And Juice Robinson, when you're working out with Tony Storm every night, you're definitely going to be in good ring shape.
Oh,
So,
well, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I mean, both these guys are great. The Good Brothers, I'll never say, the Good Brothers are a fantastic tag team, but they're solid. But when you put them in there with a really good, really exciting tag team like these guys, that's when these guys really shine. Like the Good Brothers need to be in there with a team that's really good to be on their level. They won't bring a team that's shitty up to a good level, but they can bring themselves up to a good level. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I
Like
agree
they
with you.
need to have a really good dance partner to be really good as well. And that's
Yeah.
what this match was. But I wasn't expecting a title switch because one, I don't know how long Finn Juice is going to be there. But when the title switch did happen and all this, I was like, wow. Then it kind of gets the wheels turning. Like, are they gonna maybe
Like
appear
there
on
was a
Are
lot
they
of
gonna
near
appear on
falls too. Did you
Impact? And
like
are
that?
they gonna drop the belts on not on Impact, excuse me, on AEW? And then the Good Brothers beat another team. Is Omega gonna maybe help beat the shit out of them one night in Impact? They'll be like, oh, Kenny, help us, and Kenny will show up. Who the hell knows? But I mean, this was definitely really good.
And like the one thing is like there were a lot of near falls. Juice Robinson came in, made a hot tag. That was also like good. I feel like you said David Finlay, like really, really good, like just holding the team. And like you said, the Good Brothers, is just like Carl Anderson for me is like the greatest, the best out of the two. Like he
Oh
can
yeah.
hold like a really good match. And of course Gallows
Yeah,
is just
Luke
like the
Gallows to
big
me,
guy.
even the way he acts, he just reminds me of like WCW Diesel.
Yeah, well,
Like he's always
like,
got to
he
be like, oh,
fights
look at me
like a
waving
big
the
man.
tag
Yeah.
belt, like the tag belt's my big cock. I'm just gonna be shaking that, when the
Mm,
match starts, and it's just
yes.
like, oh, I'm like 7 feet tall, big boot, big slam. That's all I can do.
Yes.
And yeah, no, Carl Anderson's definitely the star. But I mean, can Juice Robinson get some like legit gear?
Oh
It looked
well,
like
like
he was just wearing like black jeans and like a white
well,
t-shirt.
like he was probably. I guess that's the new gimmick that he has. It's just like like because if you see in the picture, like he has like the same kind of like like awful, like I'm poor. Like I don't know, what it means, to be honest with you. Like look, because see how like he has like the
Oh,
gimmick,
yeah,
like
kind of just like a gangster, like but like a
like
ripped
a
up suit
gangster, like
kind
yeah,
of deal. Yeah.
but like ripped up, yeah, like you're like all ripped. So like it seems that's his part of his gimmick, and it's fine. I like the Doomsday device. They did it really
Oh
good.
yeah, that was badass. I didn't know if that was actually going to be is that their finisher? Do you
It seems
know?
that way because that's how they
Okay.
beat them. Yes, so like it seems that way, but like also like they the Good Brothers try for the Magic Killer and all of that. So it was like I said contested, and that's the one thing that at least this event per se like lack of like like those like dramatic moments like oh finisher against finisher, let's see what happens. At least this match had that. So
Yeah, I would say this match and then the main event were really the only two that kind of gave you that like, super like, oh my God, like, we always make jokes, call it the Kurt Angle kickouts, like the near falls, like you said, it was really exciting. A lot of the other matches were kind of one-sided. Like we had
yeah.
mentioned, that was a problem with a lot of these matches, but this was really good.
Oh
And
yeah,
the
exactly.
title switch, while it was shocking, I think we're both fine with it.
No, it's good because again, it brings a lot of eyes to the product. You have to do things like this again to kind of like because everybody's waiting. There's not going to be a switch, but when you do it, everybody's like, "Oh, there was a switch." So like again, I got to turn around and start watching what's going on. So I like that.
Exactly.
So good stuff. I mean, like you said, how long are they going to retain? How long are they? Maybe they're going to show up on AEW and with the titles, so they can really mix it up, and then Private Party can be involved. Or,
Oh yeah, and the way Impact books a lot of their stuff is they usually do rematches. I feel like they have rematch clauses, so the Good Brothers could easily be like, "Oh, give us a rematch,
Rebellion.
boom," and they get it right back.
And then you
So.
get your Rebellion match. So now, Paul, let's talk about the main event. This was, like everything that like you expected because just these two guys are really great athletes. Rick Swann, the one thing that again I'm going to mention again is that like he came out no dancing, focus, and that shows me how much you care about your character. Because it doesn't matter how many pancakes you throw. It doesn't matter you become the IC champion and you still throw the pancakes. This is how you become, the champion. Rick Swann came out, no smiles, nothing. Focus on what you're gonna fight for. That double championship. And Moose, one of the, I will say a great performance, but Moose is like a little bit paceful. Don't you think he likes to tell you the story while Swann is like more spots?
Oh yeah, Moose is because that's his style. It's just he's strong, he's calculated. Every time he moves and he steps, it has a meaning. And Rich Swann, is high pace. He comes from the X division. He comes from like, you don't want to say cruiserweight, but kind of that like style, like the high flying, always moving, hitting the ropes, bouncing, diving, kicking, just craziness. But I mean, those two styles, you don't want to say they clash, but they're definitely different. So it brings up the whole almost David versus Goliath thing. Like they said, Rich is going to need to use his speed, his striking, his quickness to try to take down Moose. But all Moose has to do is catch him once and use his power. And he's gonna control, and that's essentially what this was. Almost the whole match, Moose was just dominating, throwing him around, kicking his ass from pillar to post, as they say. And Moose is so good, and the way that they had it set up, you were just waiting for Swann to make the comeback.
Yes,
you're just waiting. You're thinking, because there's no way that even if Moose is gonna win, there's no way it's gonna go like this. There's and I love just some of the spots in here when Moose did that.
Holding the hair, they're like,
oh yeah, and I love how they're like, yeah, listen to his primal scream as he's like, going crazy, having his hair ripped out. Mm-hmm. And I like how Brian Hebner, he let these guys go. There wasn't too much of him getting involved, being like, oh, I'm gonna call a DQ, or like, Earl Hebner when he'd be poking him with the finger, like, you listen to me, pal. Like, shut up, Earl. Like, let these guys be legit. But I love that right there when he did that, almost kind of like a
Samoan drop.
Yeah. And really just, good. That was such a legit spot. Moose is just an incredible athlete. And, then he eventually, you almost want to say he got frustrated because he's just like, I don't care anymore. Or he's like, I just want to hurt you. He went out, he got the chair, put the chair in there. That's when, Hebner was kind of like, oh, come on, Moose, don't be bullshit and everything. And then he goes to throw Rich in the chair. Hebner's in the way. And then, Rich, starts to make his comeback. And, but then, what shuts him right down with an Uranagi for a 2 count. So it's like Moose was still in control, still dominant. And, at this point, I was thinking Moose is going to win. And, but they pulled the Isaiah Swerve Scott on me.
Yeah, they did. They did, because after like a pinning combination right there, Swann was able to roll him up. And then you see like if both of his arms are like holding Moose's.
Yeah, because the chair was still there. Moose, it was almost like a bull. Like he would charge Rich. Rich would move out of the corner. Boom, he'd hit it. He did it to another corner. Did it to another corner. Eventually, this corner has a chair in it. Boom, he hits it. But Moose kicks out, but still kind of selling the effects of the chair. Like you said, he gets him in a pinning combination, rolls him up 1, 2. And I'm thinking Moose is kicking out. No, he doesn't. 3. And Rich Swann is the new, unified champion. Almost kind of reminds me of a Daniel Bryan moment. It just like, he's, a double champ, even though those belts weren't unified, but it's like, he's the double champ here. Probably an upset win. You saw Moose sitting there. I thought maybe Moose was going to beat him down, but I'm kind of happy he give Rich Swann this moment, let him just, bask it in. And he's going to, yeah, exactly, bask in his glory. Maybe that was like Keith Lee, but now we see what happened to Keith Lee. He's not basking in anything.
At least Rick Swann will not go to the main roster because he will go the same fate. But like, exactly. I agree. Like, and especially we mentioned this. Like, and maybe we didn't say it on camera, but we said it within each other that if Moose wins, then he has to go against Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega is not going to drop it to Moose. So while Rick Swann will.
Yeah, so, and if you're going to do something, really legit, if this belt is going to go, like you said, the Impact Championship, whatever they're going to call the new unified belt, if that's going to go to Kenny Omega, the perfect person to get it back from Kenny Omega and get it back on Impact is Moose.
Yes.
And also, no offense to Rich Swann, because he's legit, and you see the company has a lot of stock in him by making him champ, making him their first unified champ, especially, whatever they're going to call this new belt and everything. But, to have, but it benefits Moose, I think, more if he would end up beating Kenny Omega. That's better for Moose, because Kenny Omega, as great as Rich Swann is, Kenny Omega's up here.
Yes, and the main thing that you said, like if Moose beats Omega for that title, he will not do anything to the AEW championship. If you ask Omega, which one do you rather drop? Oh yeah, I will much rather drop the one that I don't belong there.
Because who's Omega feuding with right now? Christian. Yeah. Christian could easily get involved, come out, cause a distraction. He could hit the kill switch, the unprettier, whatever you want to call it. The ref could be distracted. Oh, done. Oh, here comes Moose, big spear. Oh my God, 1, 2, 3, whatever. But that's booking it way too far ahead because we have to wait for Rebellion. Like you have the picture right there, Rich Swann versus Kenny Omega. I'm excited for that match because they gave us a teaser at what was that? Was that at Hard to Kill? At Hard to Kill, yep, for the 6-man tag. So now we're gonna see the 1-on-1, and I'm excited for it.
It's gonna be a great showing, and like you said, like Moose is fine. Losing like this is fine because again, it was a pinning combination, no finisher. We can say kind of clean, but you saw that he kicked out like in the last second. It was kind of like Hogan with the Warrior. So like, okay, so you see like Moose is gonna maybe take a few days off or something, and then gonna show up once again. But like you said, main event is gonna be for Rebellion, Kenny Omega against Rick Swann. We're excited about it, and family, this is what we have for you guys in this 2021 Sacrifice. Rick Swann is the brand new Unified Impact Champion. So family, thank you so very much for being with us. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. And don't forget, please subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and also give the video a like so we get, higher in the ranks for every single one of you. Where else can they find us?
So pushes us where?
To the moon. That's
no,
right.
But also, guys, make sure you follow us so you don't miss any updates, any news, anything like that. Make sure you follow us, Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course, right here on YouTube, the home of the podcast that covers every single major wrestling pay-per-view, the Original Rope Break.
So, family, thank you so very much one more time, and we'll see you next time for Monday Night Raw. A lot of implications of Lashley and, the story with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. So join us for that. So we'll see you soon. So you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...